So you can see our blueberry bush is pretty loaded this year, but blueberries don't all come off at the same time. I've picked these for several years, just little bits here and there, and I've learned a few tricks. Blueberries can be very tedious to pick, so I thought I would just share this little trick with y'all that I've tried to teach the kids when they're helping me. They're always like, Mom, you are so fast at everything. And I do try to go at things quickly because I have a lot to do and I can't just take hours and hours on each little job. But part of it's because I've just done all these things a lot and I've just learned how to do them faster and more efficient. So I thought I would share it with you guys too. So I'm gonna try to do this and hold the camera. But mainly what I do is, you can see these are not all ripe, but some are. When fruit gets ripe, it lets go of what it's attached to a lot easier. So I'll just kind of rub it in my hand a little bit and you can see what was ripe fell off. Same thing here. I just kind of, I go in the general vicinity of where I see the ripe ones, but they fall off in my hand. In fact, one fell on the ground and the rest are left. And I just go all around the plant doing that. They just fall off in my hand, move on. And before you know it, you've harvested the ripe ones, but not the green ones. I hope that's clear. Just put it in your hand and gently just rub your thumb where you think the ripe ones are. If they're not ripe, they're gonna be pretty well attached. But if they are, they're gonna kind of fall off in your hand. You just keep moving on. You can see, it works. Let me also add in, I'm not usually trying to film when I'm picking blueberries. So when I'm kind of moving them around in my hand to get them to fall off, I've got the basket in the other hand right under where I'm kind of wallering them around. And that makes them fall right in the basket. So you saw me struggling, a couple fell on the ground. Normally they fall right in the basket. Every great once in a while you're gonna get one that's green that you kind of rub off, but it doesn't happen very often because those are still pretty firmly attached. I love this Chinese cabbage. So several of you have been mentioning that I look like I'm losing weight. Thank you so much. I have lost about 30 something pounds at this point. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this, not necessarily this head of cabbage or even cabbage, but this is how. Vegetables and fruit. I've been eating a lot of that and healthy meats and things like that. I've had to cut out a lot of things. It's not been a cakewalk. I have been on a specific plan, but the fact is, it doesn't have to be just exactly what I'm doing. More fruits and vegetables. That's just life-giving food, and it's just changing your lifestyle. It's been hard, but it's been wonderful at the same time. I'm so motivated. Once you start to feel better, I think that just kicks it in high gear and you think, why have I went so long feeling bad from things I'm doing to myself? And so that has just, it's made me be really strict about what I'm putting in my body now for the first time in a long, long time. Loving, loving, loving this graffiti cauliflower. All right, let's be real for a sec. You saw me harvest that beautiful head of broccoli. This is another head of broccoli. It was sprouting broccoli, so it just came up in little pieces. It wasn't a big head like that. And I just literally have no excuse. I just did not harvest it. So it's went to seed and to flower, and that's where we are. So that's what I'm talking about. Don't just grow it. You have to get out there and harvest it and eat it. Here's two more that are well on their way, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick those and eat those before they go any further. So broccoli that is flowering is not only edible, a lot of people actually like it. They think the little flowers taste delicious. I've eaten it before. I like it. It's good to me. So if you're like me and you have some things starting to flower, go ahead and pick them. In fact, in some markets all over the world, if they're flowering, they cost more. Like, it's considered a delicacy. So even though I lost that plant, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm looking down here and there's about 2 or 3 more of those, I'm gonna harvest these that have not gone quite that far and go ahead and use them. And sometimes also, if you will cut off that's flowering, some more will grow up. You won't necessarily have a whole nother head of broccoli, but you will have some individual sprouts come up of little miniature broccoli heads that you can harvest in a few weeks or so. You can also see I have a ton of this Chinese cabbage, and if I'm not careful, it will start sprouting as well. You can see it's turning lighter green in here. These are all getting ready. Some look better than others. I picked one for us to eat. I'll probably take some of these to the farmer's market, and but I need to use these up. I don't need to just let these go either. Same thing here. I have a ton of these getting ready at one time. You can see that's well on its way to flowering. I'm gonna harvest that one. I have some smaller ones that can wait a week or so. So we just need to be eating our own vegetables as side dishes right now and not buying anything. And that is still a perfectly edible, beautiful head of cauliflower. This one has not gone too far. I'm gonna go ahead and harvest it. Obviously this one has. So there's 2 that have gone completely too far. Lots of cabbage that's ready right now. So we need to be eating lots of cabbage, making sauerkraut, things like that. But you can see this one, it's borderline. I probably won't harvest that either. I may cut that off to see if it produces some more. This is exactly what I'm talking about. See this little head? Now this is good. And this wouldn't hurt you. It's just a lot of long stems. You can see it's already started to make the little pods and everything. It's went a bit too far. So you can see we also have kohlrabis that are almost ready. I'm gonna harvest a couple of these. Their greens are really good and really good for you. You can actually harvest these and leave the kohlrabi bulb down there growing. But I'm gonna go ahead and harvest the whole thing on a couple of these. But definitely don't trash these greens. Very, very good for you. Couple more things to harvest. You can see we have some huge heads of cabbage, and in fact they go all down this row. They're interspersed in with broccoli and cauliflower. I'm not going to harvest them all right now because we can't eat them all right now. This is probably something I'll take some to the farmer's market. We'll eat off of fresh, but I just can't fill my fridge up with them. They're still fine here. And so we're just gonna go with it for now. And just being real here, in fact, I'm gonna pick, this is the worst looking one that's big. So I'm gonna cut it because it looks like it's had a little bug damage. I'll soak it in salt water and it'll be just fine. You always gotta have a good looking onion to go in your vegetables too. So I'm gonna harvest a couple of these. They're doing amazing in this cover. You can see some of them didn't get above the cover before they started getting bigger. They're still growing under there. So next year we've learned a lesson. We may kind of push this down to make sure these are out when they get to that point where they're gonna stay above or below this cover. But we learned something. These are from Dixondale Farms, favorite place by far for onions. They've just done amazing for us, and they'll help you figure out your variety you need. This basket is getting full. Very last thing might be my absolute favorite harvest of the day. Not a cat. I'm not harvesting you, Bubba. What are you doing? What are you doing? These are looking so beautiful. That's actually pretty small, but I can't resist. This is actually the green zebra zucchini from Haas. Really excited about these this year. Beautiful, and I love squash. Okay, one more little thing, and I'm gonna finish this squash harvest, and then I am done. But if you can see these flowers right here, there is no squash behind them. You can see this flower had a squash back there that it grew. Same thing, let's find a littler one over there. I don't know if y'all can see that. That flower has a little baby squash right there that is growing. These are actually called male flowers. They do not grow a squash back behind them, whereas the female flowers do. So it has to do with pollination. That's a whole nother video. But these male flowers, you can actually pick these, and we love to eat these things. Now this is not exactly a healthy recipe, but you can stuff these with like cream cheese and put some cracker crumbs, gluten-free or regular flour or cracker crumbs or anything like that. Roll them in an egg, kind of pinch the ends off around the cream cheese. It'll make them kind of do that. Roll it in egg, roll it in your coating, and then pan fry those. The kids beg for them. They are delicious. In fact, I'm gonna make everyone one of those tonight. Okay, this is a new one to us. It's called a one ball from Haas. Really excited about trying that. That's small. I'm picking everything small today, and in fact, that may be too small, but I'm gonna give it a try. One last thing I'm gonna give a look at is these strawberries. They are almost done. Or not done, they're slowing down. There'll be a few in here I can get picked. These are what you call ever-bearing strawberries. So they've hit their prime. They still have like a prime where they're gonna produce the most that they do, but they will just keep going throughout the season. You are not gonna get your crop all at once on ever-bearing strawberries. You need to get what's called June-bearing. There's another variety that escapes me right now, but if you do ever-bearing, they're gonna keep going for a bit, and it's not gonna be that humongous harvest that you would get if you had June bearing, where it's just all at once and then they are completely done for the year. So just keep that in mind. What's your goals? Are you trying to make a bunch of jam all at one time? Do you want them to eat on throughout the whole season? Just depends on your goals. So it is later in the day, it's supper time now, and I'm gonna get some of these veggies prepared and roast them. And I just thought I would kind of show you guys what I do. I do this with a variety of vegetables, just depending on what's coming in at the time. So we're gonna take this broccoli and cauliflower, we're gonna get that rinsed and trimmed up and put that on a pan first. So I'm just using a cookie sheet, and I've got a piece of parchment paper on here just for easier cleanup. I'm gonna get the veggies on here and then toss them in some oil. So I chopped off some of those super long broccoli stems, but I'm leaving some of them because they're pretty thin, they're tender, but I didn't want them like a foot long or anything. Also gonna get this onion chopped up and added in. And these two baby squashes I picked. And finally, I'm going to rinse and then peel these kohlrabi. All right, isn't that beautiful? So I've got the oven on 425 because I need these to roast pretty quickly tonight. There's no secret to roasting, really. You can roast at lower temperatures. Sometimes I'll do 350 or 325 even if I want them to take a bit longer. Maybe I'm busy doing other things. Or I crank it up if I want them to roast a little bit faster. Just be careful depending on what type of oil you're using that you don't burn them, make them stick. I have set off the smoke alarm several times roasting things in the oven. So don't get too far away and just be aware of what oil you're using. But I'm gonna drizzle some olive oil on there. I'm using, this is Squisito's rosemary. And I wanted to mention these tops to you guys. That's where I get these as well. These are perfect for things like this. You can drizzle really well. It doesn't just pour out. It's a lot easier to get all of them coated without using just a ton of oil that's gonna make everything just really oily. So I'm gonna salt these. I'm probably actually gonna use this bologna salt, super good. That's also from Squisito's. I'm gonna pop these in the oven and just keep an eye on them. Just when your veggies are tender as you'd like them, if you want them brown on the bottom, there's really no secret to this. Just throw anything you have at the time coming out of your garden together, and I guarantee you it'll probably be good. Okay, one quick revisement to the last statement I just made. I said you can throw anything together and roast it and it'd probably be good, but when Ben didn't cook very much in the past, which he doesn't cook a ton now, but he does know more than he did then, he roasted cucumbers. I would say that wasn't so good. Maybe you like roasted cucumbers, but it wasn't my favorite.
Are you in here talking about me?
All right, let's wrap this thing up. So I'm about to pan fry some chicken tenders that we raised here on our farm. And so that made me think, I don't know if you caught the last video, but we are shipping chicken now. So if you're interested, head over to our website. There's a limited number of shipping boxes available. There's a large box and 2 small chicken variety boxes. You can head over VWFamilyFarm.com. That'll take you to, you can hit the shop button and go to our store, or it's all down in the description of this video. And the descriptions on those boxes tell you exactly what's in them. So like I said, there's a limited number, so go get yours ordered. We'll be happy to ship it to you. I'm gonna brown this chicken just in a skillet. So these are actually chicken tenders. Oh, they're so beautiful. We grew these chickens out pretty good size, so these tenders are pretty good size. So I'm just gonna put them in a skillet. I'm gonna brown them and salt and pepper them. I've got some pasta cooking, because if you remember that pesto I did on a video or 2 ago, we are gonna put that to good use tonight. Okay, I just have to say in my defense, my stove is malfunctioning. I don't know if y'all have ever had a flat top stove that you can turn one burner on and it will just heat and heat and heat and heat. You can put it on low and it still just keeps heating up like fire red crazy. So that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Alrighty, look at that beautiful garden supper. We got the pesto mixed in the pasta, somewhat. Everybody can mix their own a little bit more. And that's it. That's what's growing in our garden and how we prepare it sometimes. And Ben is going to eat, aren't you?
I am hungry. I have not really had any lunch today.
Well, that's good. And you're having a healthy supper. So I just encourage you, I'm encouraging myself really, get out there and pick and cook what you've worked so hard to grow, because it is delicious, but it's easy to put it off and just let it go to waste too. So take a lesson from me and don't do that. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. God bless.